Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Um, I just want to come on here, give an update on what's going on. It's now August the 10th. Um, as y'all may know, on my previous videos that I was evicted from my apartment on July 6th. And then I moved into this shelter apartment, July 7th. And how God miraculously moved on my behalf last month. And I believe he will still move again. So right now it's August 10th and I'm still here, past my 30 days. I'm supposed to be here up to 90 days. Everyone is up to 90 days here. But they want us out of here as soon as possible. So I may not be here 90 days. So right now I'm still, I've been putting in for jobs and still haven't got no callbacks. And I got callbacks, I got interviews, but no hires. So God might be, leading me out of regular employment to full time, working for myself. Because I know I'm dealing with health issues and I can't be dealing with this, working those demanding jobs I used to work. I was, in home health, I was in retail, I was in restaurant, all those jobs. And so right now, my body's it got a toll. My body's going through stuff right now. And I'm going back and forth to the specialist or whatever. So to try to get to the root of what's going on with me. But in the meantime, I'm still doing, finding work that I could just do, remote, online, on my computer or whatever. And so I'm trying to work on building up my content creation so I get monetized, because I'm not monetized. I haven't been consistent, with my videos. And so that's what I'm working on now to try to get monetized. And then I'm doing other, projects that I want to try to gain, try to earn money on, freelance projects. So God may be leading me to working for myself and to build an online ministry. And so whatever, God is leading me to, I got to go with the flow. I had to go where he leads me to. So far, he's taking care of me. He's always taking care of me. Regardless. I'm not and want for nothing. I got, roof over my head, clothes on my back, food on my table. And so I'm taking care of, and I can't say I'm 100% comfortable because I'm in transition. I'm not in my own space. I have a private unit here, but I'm not in my own, my own roof. I'm under, I'm at an institution where I have to, abide by the rules here. But it's not like the other shelters I lived in. So I have more independence here. But it do come with challenges, It's me and another single woman live here, and then it's just women and children. But it's only, it's a small, location, and stuff. It's not many, it's not compared to other shelters I lived in. And so I'm thankful for that because it's more peaceful and quiet. And I say that loosely because at times it could get aggravating with kids. And I have kids next to me, the parents and stuff, and the kids, and the walls are so thin here. And the kids get to yelling and screaming and bumping and stuff. And every time they make a move or whatever, I flinch because it comes through the walls and stuff. So it comes with challenges, but yet this is not like where I was before, the other shelters and stuff. I have more space, more privacy here, and I'm thankful. Even though I don't have a car and I still have to walk 15 minutes to the bus stop or, get a medical ride to go to my doctor's appointments or whatever, it's still all good. God is in the miracle working business. But I did have an altercation last week with the head staff member here, dealing with, because even though this is a new place, it was just built a few months ago, last year, it was like slapped together because it's got so many things wrong with this place. Faulty sockets and, everything it wasn't built right. So they've been coming in several times to try to fix whatever. And I was accused of tripping the circuits. The sockets kept going out, and it happened two, three different times. The microwave was where the microwave is supposed to be at. And on day one, I tried to turn it on. It was already on, and when I tried to use it, it went out. And so when the head lady came in that evening, she said she moved it over to the other side and got another outlet, and said, well, we'll just use this for now until somebody come fix those, sockets. So they came in a second time and moved the microwave back, and it still did the same thing. And so last week, she came in with the maintenance man and tried to work on the sockets again. And it did the same thing, and I went and told her. And she said, well, what did you do? Because it was working just fine when I was in there this morning. And he said that you had too much stuff plugged up. All I did was put a cup of coffee in the microwave to turn it on. Like before, when I tried to turn on the microwave, it had PF on there, and when I turned it on, it just went out. It didn't work. And so it did, and then she said I had too much stuff plugged up. Okay, I have a personal blender, a 2-prong plus personal blender, the 2 prongs on the socket, on the plug, because they don't burn that much juice other than the microwave with the 3 prongs. Only thing plugged up was the microwave, and then the refrigerator is plugged up on this outlet wall, and then they have a hot plate. But that little personal blender is a small personal blender where I use, I blend up my stuff, and then I take the cup and I drink out of it or whatever. That don't burn no juice. So that wasn't the cause of it. And she said, the man said, well, you got too much stuff. That wasn't it, because she got mad and stuff, and then, we got into it, and she said, well, don't talk over me. That's one thing I don't like, is anybody talking over me. And me and her was cool from the beginning. But then all of a sudden, she just started throwing her power around and saying, y'all this, and y'all that. Y'all did this, and y'all did that. And she talking about everybody here as a whole. So, like I said, I overlooked and ignored some other things she said. But then, yet last week, I really had a meltdown. I was upset. I was having flashbacks from when I was evicted from my apartment. The apartment manager didn't have no mercy on me. She was talking down to me. And there's one thing I don't like, is being talked down to. And I was having flashbacks when I had to deal with that. I had a meltdown from that, and then I had to deal with this woman here having a meltdown and falsely accused me of something. Then the truth came to the light, and stuff. After a while, she brought she was mad. She brought the microwave and the table back in here and plugged it back on the other side. It still didn't do nothing. This time the refrigerator went out. Everything went out except for the lights. Everything went out. And I went to her again. I said, everything is out again. And like I tell her, I ain't do nothing. And so she came in, and then she realized, she kept going to the breaker room and kept trying to do the breakers in there and stuff like that. And then she said, "Oh, yeah, they stuff went out again. Went out over there next door as well." So, and then come to find out, it was the sockets that was those sockets was faulty, and they was tripping, and it wasn't me. And so, and she noticed herself when she finally tripped flip the circuit breaker and turn the switches back on, the sockets back on, and try to use a microwave. She knows the microwave went out. And then, and stuff like that. So she moved back over there again to the other side. So she said, well, she says, see that the devil is busy. The devils try to come between the both of us and all that. she didn't even apologize or nothing, but she gave me a hug and stuff, and then, see, the devil tried to come in between us and all that stuff. She didn't even apologize for accusing me. So, like I said, I'm not gonna let my guard down at all. That just gave me the fuel because my experiences when my season's up in a part in a location or wherever, I have to be able to transition. I can't be comfortable. I can't settle. And I know this. I mean, I know this is just temporary. I already know that, but I mean, I've had experience in shelters long enough to know about how these staff members, how they treat the people, residents, and stuff. Just because, she good and laugh and stuff, like that, and we kind of, cordial each other. I'm not gonna let my guard down at all. After what happened, that's giving me the fuel and the ammunition to do what I got to do. Even though I have my housing specialist, she's working with me, got me on, on a wait list, going back into Section 8, which I didn't want to go back into. My last apartment I was evicted from, I wasn't in Section 8. But right now, starting from zero, I don't have income coming in, so I have no other choice. But I have a choice of where I want to live at next. And the apartment she got me on the wait list for, that I'm close to the top, they got bad living conditions. Even though she said, well, it's only to be temporary, you can still move to somewhere else. But I don't have the money to keep moving my stuff. I had to get money, for someone else when I moved here. When I got kicked out, I didn't have no money to move my stuff. I had to leave half of my stuff in that apartment and had them to toss it out. Stuff I didn't want to leave behind, but I had no choice because I had nobody to help me move it out. I had no money to pay nobody to move it out for me. And so here, I refused to take anything. Just like I waited until I got into a better shelter environment. I refused to go back to the one I was at 2 years ago. Based on my needs and stuff, I have sensory issues and stuff. Based on my needs and stuff, I can't deal with, I have to have my own space and stuff. I can't deal with being in a crowded environment and stuff. So, and then dealing, with these apartments that she got me approved for, whatever, getting up on the wait list or whatever. I read the reviews on them by bad bugs, mold, and then stuff, and I may have to deal with stuff a whole lot worse there. I put in applications myself at other places to get in at other places and stuff that may be a little bit better. Like I said, I'm working toward my needs and stuff. When nobody else may not advocate for my needs, I'm going to advocate for my needs. I know what I need. And I'm stepping my game. As I get older now, I'm beginning to realize what my personality is, what my needs are. And people around me may not understand what my needs are. I do. And long as God would back me up, God created me, He designed me, He knows exactly what I need and what I don't need. And so, like I say, I know I got a little depressed today, thinking I don't want to keep going back into this over and over again, going back into this hole again. And this time He pushed everybody away that I relied on. And I really need to have a family of my own and not focus on the family I did have. Because the family I do have left, they focus on their own. And the family I did have from my childhood on up, they passed on. At my age, I need to focus on having my own family, my husband, not so much just to bail me out of trouble or whatever, just so I could share my life with the good, the bad, the ugly. I can't deal with life alone. This was tough. I mean, I had nobody to turn to but God, nobody. In the past, at least I had one or two family members to turn to. I didn't have nobody. Even the church people out turned against me. I had no one. And it was hard. It was heartbreaking. I'm trying to heal from all of that. I'm dealing with health issues on top of that. I'm still going back and forth to the doctor for them to treat me and stuff. And like I say, God's going to work on my body. He's going to work on my mind. He's going to work on my heart. I'm going to get to a place in life. And I don't want to be putting on these woe is me and pity videos. I'm doing this as a testimony to anybody that can relate to me. I'm not going to stay in this position always. Maybe, life is filming. God is taking me through these scenarios for a reason, to build me up for my purpose in life. And so, no more woe is me, because I know God has something great in store for me. He has something great in store for me and for everyone out there that may be going through the same thing I'm going through right now. Just like I'm willing to be encouraged, I have to encourage myself if nobody else can encourage me. So I'm telling everyone out there to be encouraged. If you're going through what I'm going through, be encouraged. Because I know what I have, that my desires and what I believe God has in store for me is to have wealth and to be able to have my own and to be able not to struggle like this. But sometimes God will have to tear you down to build you back up. He get me rid of old habits, old way of thinking, and he have to just tear me down so he could build me back up the way he wants me to be built into the image that he created me before I was placed in my mother's womb, because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. And so I'm going through it, the transition, mindsets being changed, my beliefs and value systems is changing. Everything is changing. And I trust to believe God, everything gonna work out for my good. I'm gonna be settled in a new location. I'm gonna have a permanent place to stay, gonna have a beautiful home in a beautiful neighborhood, have a vehicle that I will no longer have to keep walking and catching the bus all the time, and have a nice vehicle, have a family of my own, be able to travel, go places, driving in ministry, all of that, all of the above. I am a generational curse breaker. What my family didn't get to experience that passed on, I'm going to make the example. I'm going to set the example. So like I say, I'm doing this for my family that passed on. I'm doing it for my future generation. If God bless me at this age to have a child of my own, it'll be a legacy for my child or children to pass on. But I just want to come on here to encourage everyone to give an update on my testimony and not to settle and wallow around in my pity, but to be able to empower others that trouble don't last always. God is going to see us through this. And like he did, this is a nice location, regardless of its flaws and stuff. It is a nice environment for me to rest, restore, and be able to transition to my next. So like I said, it has its perks, it has its pros and stuff, and I'm thankful for that. I'm not going to dwell on the negatives and dwell on the cons, because I have to give all my energy to the pros and the positives of this where I'm at right now. And I know my income will pick back up very soon, but I have to be in position, be where God wants me to be at, so where my prosperity is, doing what he wants me to do, where he wants me to do it at. And then everything will start coming to me. New relationships will start coming into my life, new friendships, my new tribe, my husband to be. The right people will start coming into my life. And I'm so thankful, and I'm so highly blessed. He's right here with me, and he's right there with you as well. If you're going through a season of isolation where everybody has been separated from you, just know God is still with you regardless. In due time, he will send the right people your way that will be there for you, cheer you on, won't judge and criticize you or put you down, but will cheer you on and push you up. And that's what I need right now, people to just pull me up, but I have to be able to do the work myself with God helping me. I can't focus on and rely on people. Man will fail you, but God will never fail you. So he's getting me to that place now not to rely on man so much, because man failed me one too many times, and it's just my heart just broken from being failed by people so much. So I'm thankful and I'm highly favored. So anyway, so hopefully, you know, I got a list of things I got to do, stuff I got to work on. So I'm gonna get started on that, for this coming week. And I'm not sitting here idle. I'm working on my stuff so I can move ahead. I'm working on it. So anybody out there, just keep me lifted up in prayer. I keep you lifted up in prayer. And also, I am an intercessor to be where I'm supposed to be called to be intercessor. So I have my email address at the bottom. It should be somewhere on my profile. And if anybody wants prayer, I'll be willing to stand the gap for you. Like I say, it's not my job to try to just nurse my wounds. It's my job as well to be able to be of help to others and reach out to help others. That's what God wants me to do, to be of help to others. Why? He's in a position to help me where I'm at. I have to reach out to help those that are down as well. So if you need prayer, just DM me on my socials. My links is it should be at the bottom, and then as well, or just on my email, or my links, whatever. I'll be here to lift you up. It will lift me up as well, just being there to lift someone else up that's going through the same thing. So stay strong, be encouraged. Until we meet again, peace out.